Hi there, Diane Evans here with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator. So if this is your first time joining me on YouTube, make sure that you do subscribe and also hit that bell down below just beside that subscribe button and you'll get notified immediately as soon as I upload a new video. So just to be pre-warned, this is not like a normal, typical video that I do. This video is basically designed for beginners and casual stampers, but it doesn't mean that you wouldn't like the design of the card. The whole purpose of this is to show you how you can design or do a card that uses limited supplies. So today what we're going to use is this Elegantly Said bundle. Remember, when you do buy this as a bundle, you save 10%. But also in the suite itself has the beautiful Designer Series paper. So we're going to be using the Designer Series paper, but guess what? We're not using the real pretty sides. We're going to use the non-metallic sides on there. So I have to tell you, how do you get your inspiration? I can get my inspiration from different things just by seeing different pictures or things like that. But this was a casually crafting, and this is for beginners and casual crafting. And this is a Tic Tac Toe challenge. So basically what you need to do is do a line in any direction and use the elements that are on there. So what a great way to get to the point where you can actually craft and get ideas how to craft. So I will tell you that I used Use a Punch, very vanilla card, which I stretched a little bit, and linen thread. Now the linen thread, I'm going to say that I'm using baker's twine because I found that the linen thread didn't show up. But you could go this way, you could go this way. There's so many different things that you could actually do with this. So what a great way to get your creative juices going, right? So I have my cardstock here, and the card states for a very vanilla card. Now this particular card, it actually has a base of basic gray, and it is 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to go in and fold that. Now when I fold this, I fold into the mountain, which means that that's the bumpy end. And when I fold into the mountain, the reason I do that is so that I get a nice crisp edge along there. So I'm going to come in with a bone folder. Very important that you do have a bone folder so that it does basically give you a really good crease on that card. Now I also have a piece of very vanilla, which I'm not going to attach it to the card front. And I also have 3 pieces of Designer Series paper. Like I say, I'm using the back side of this beautiful Elegantly Said Designer Series paper, and I've got this measured at 1 1/4, 3/4 of an inch, and 1/4 of an inch. Now this actually was part of a mystery challenge for me. So just grabbing my, there we go. So it was part of a mystery challenge that I also put out to my peeps that are on my Stampin' with Diane group. And that it's kind of fun to do mystery challenges because you gather up all your stuff with the measurements that they give you and you create a card. And on this particular mystery challenge, I did do it where I gave them the measurements and then I said, go for it, create a card. Now I'm using multi-purpose glue. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's very, it gives you a bit of wiggle room. So when I go to put this on my card, I'm actually going to put it off to the one side. And now I can just move this a bit so that I've got it even. And then I'm going down with my 3/4 inch. And again, I'm using that glue. I just like how, you know, if I use a certain kind of adhesive, sometimes you can't move it. So I like to have this where I can move it. So we're just going to butt it right up to the end. And then I'm going to take my thin little 1/4 inch and use the glue on there as well. Just a thin bead of glue. You don't want it oozing out, right? And we're just going to put that right like that. Now, if you do happen to get any kind of glue over on the outside, and I didn't give you that one hint, is just take a sponge. And basically what that'll do is that just takes the glue off of there. Now, I could put this onto my card base right away. And you know what? That is not quite butt up to the end there. So I am actually going to take this trimmer, and these are things that you can do as you craft, is you could make this, if it's not quite straight at the bottom, you could just come in with a trimmer and you could trim that off so that it is straight. Now you're taking off a bit of the length there, so we want to make sure that it's also a bit off the other way. Now look, this looks like it's, I'm just trimming that off. And then we're just going to take just a tiny bit off. Just, that isn't going right up. Why isn't that going right up to the top? Okay, so we're just going to do that on there. Just taking a tiny smidgen off. And that just is going to make it so that it looks even all the way around. Okay, so now I could go ahead and I could attach that. But what I want to do is I want to stamp. So I'm using this Thank You stamp set, and I'm actually going to use embossing powder. Embossing is one of the first things that I ever did and got me really attracted to stamping. So I'm just going to go here, and this is an anti-static thing, and all this really is something with cornstarch, or it may have another property in there, but you can make your own. Go to the dollar store, get yourself some pair of infant socks, fill it with some cornstarch, sew it up really good, and then that's going to take the static away. We're using black embossing powder, so consequently it could splatter all over the place. So what we want to do is we're using Versamark. Now Versamark is like a watermark stamp pad, but it also keeps your stamp so that it stays moist for a little bit of time so that you can get your embossing powder on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that. And I'm going to use my black embossing powder. I tend to put mine on like this. And then I'm just going to grab and we're just going to do a quick flick. And if there's still a little bit of residue on there, we could take a paintbrush and take it off as well. We're also going to stamp this image that is on the stamp set, this one here. And we're going to also stamp that with the black. Or not with the black, but with the Versamark. And then we're going to use the black embossing powder on there. So I'm just going to put this on here. I always find if I'm going to, because I'm going to punch this image out, always find your best to stamp first, then punch. And the reason being for that is so that you can line up your punch exactly where you want it. So I'm just going to go do a quick flick. And now what we're going to use is we're going to use the heat tool. Now, the heat tool itself, and the reason I'm going through this very elementary is because this is, like I say, for beginner and casual stampers, and maybe a reminder for yourself. So there's two speeds to this. One is a drying speed and one is a heat speed. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that this is warm. Watch it, it does get hot. And you don't want to move your gun like this, or your heat gun. You want to just put it to one side, and once it starts to heat up, and you'll start seeing it heat up because it goes quite a vibrant black and it goes quite shiny, then you just move the cardstock. You can overheat this, so you don't want to do this, but it's just magical how it just embosses. I don't think I've got that. There we go. And now I'm just going to take this and we're going to heat this Thank You as well. See how it just goes? Now, the beauty is if you actually saw it in silver or gold, because you really see quite the different look. Now, the other reason why I heated this first before I put it on here, heat takes away the stickiness. So you always want to make sure that you do your embossing before you go stick it on, because if you stick it on and then use the embossing, what happens is that it loosens the adhesive on there. Now, I could go ahead and I can, you know, I'm going to just trim that off with my scissors. I could go ahead and I could use my seal, but I think because we have limited supplies, let's go ahead and continue to use that adhesive glue. Like I say, it gives you some wiggle room. You can just sort of adhere it, move it around. You don't have that much time to do it, but you do have a tiny bit of wiggle room. So we'll just go put this onto the card. And there we go. And now I have this punch. So the easiest way to actually punch this punch is to do it from the bottom side. Now, I just want a tiny bit of this showing. So, well, I want all of the image showing. So we're just going to go and punch that like that. And then I also have a piece of basic black that we're going to, goodness. I know I have a big strip of basic black actually. There we go, right in front of me. And then we're just going to punch another one of these. By punching the second one and not really doing too much with it, I'm giving it what I want to give it, like, I guess a shadow sort of effect on there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to come along and I am going to put dimensionals on there. So we're just going to put one there and there. Now, you notice that these are black ones. I use a black one because I'm putting it onto black, and I don't like to see the white dimensionals on there. Okay, so let's just go and put this off to the one side. Now, we've got our Very Vanilla. We've got our punch. Now we have our thread, or I'm going to use baker's twine in this instance. Now, I know I said something about the seal, but I am just using seal on the back, because what I'm going to do is I'm coming in with my, these are the essential twines, baker twine. And I'm going to use some black. They have colors that we've never really had before. I'm going to use some smoky slate. And I am also, did I use another color on there? Yes, and I used some crumb cake on this particular one. So I'm just going to come in there with these 3 colors of twine. And I'm just going to, the black, there we go. And I am just going to attach this to the back here, and we are just going to kind of get it so that it's just something to give a bit of dimension on the back of, on the card front. I know that looked like it was really kind of messy. I know the funny thing is my granddaughter just despises this particular technique. She says it's very, very, very messy, Grandma. And, you know, it kind of is. You kind of have to like that look. So let's see. Sorry, I'm just going to take this off again. And we can have it going in different directions. We can have it coming off the page and back on. I want some of that black showing. There we go. Let's see how that looks on the front of the card. So we're just going to, it's that black that we need. There we go. Well, we're not doing very well with this at all. So let's try again. I'm just going to do it individually then. And I'm going to let it kind of go wherever it kind of wants to. But I want it coming off in different spots on the card, on the front of the, off of here. So we're just going to, and because I can, I'm going to do a separate little loop there. And then let's just take this one. Normally this would go a lot better, but because I was trying to do all three at once, it's a little bit easier if you do it just one at a time. And like so. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to put these on with dimensionals as well. And the dimensionals will keep the twine attached to the card base. And the only reason we put that seal on there was to kind of give us a bit of a base or a way for it to stick on there to begin with. Now this one's not going to stick. There we go. And I just use my take your pick tool to just get those backs off of there. There we go. All right, so then it's just going to go on there like that. And then let's just take in, we have some embellishments that we want to, we're going to use, let's see, we use these matte black dots. So let's put one up here. Whenever we put embellishments on, we always want to do it kind of in a triangle. So it's very important that it doesn't matter what kind of a triangle it is, but as long as it's in a triangle. So there we have it. So if you like that, give me the thumbs up. If you know somebody that could benefit from this video, share that with them. Also, if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, if you live in Canada, I'd love to be your demonstrator if you don't have one that you're working with. Basically, I have a very generous reward program, and I also give away tutorials each and every month. So this is my host code as it's sitting right now. But if you have any questions at all, just ask away, and I hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.